Hello, I'm Robert Sam Lackey. I'm the principal instructor of the personal safety training here at Southwestern since 2002. We've trained over 700 people in the personal safety training, the core of which is the safe distance escape training that we are offering now, specifically to licensed professional counselors, licensed marital and family therapists through the Oklahoma State Department of Health Protective Health Service. This is offered for 7 CEUs for a full meeting on a Friday. There will be 2 of them. The Fridays will be spaced out so that there will be a week or 2 in between, and that will make a total of 14 CEUs. All right. This is the authorization for that service, and we will get the dates to you as soon as we can find how many people can come and when we want to do this, okay? This training is unique, and I need to go into a couple of explanations of where it came from and how it came to us today, because it is very different than what people think of when they think of defending yourself in the case of a violent attack, okay? It began at the beginning of the 1800s in China when a young man, age 10, Yang Luchan, was sold to a family, the Chen family, who had a tradition of martial arts training. The Chen patriarch had been actually head of the security service for the emperor, had retired, had come back, and was rejuvenating the martial arts training of the villagers. That Chen style Tai Chi, like martial arts in general, is designed for the villagers to line up, defend the village with their life, and that is what all the techniques are designed to do, okay? We have an amazing departure from that in the case of Yang style, and you've already heard part of the answer of why that took place. Young Yang came into the village as a slave, so it was not his village, okay? The second thing was, after he matured, they used him as a target. And so here he was, you can picture a young man being the target for their training. Well, here he is. If he defeats the village member, they simply bring out another one. If he backs up, then he backs up into all the rest of them. He has one safe place to be, at least momentarily, and that is if he can somehow get around the attacker and get on the other side, a safe distance, at least for a moment. So within Yang style Tai Chi, which has all of the other elements as well, there are these techniques which enable you to see an attack, deflect it, go around it, and escape to a safe distance. And those are the ones that we focus on, and they are the core of the safe distance training that I'm talking about. So you have a young man, 10 years old, I guess you could say facing bullies, people who are going to beat him up. In 1947 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a 10-year-old boy, myself, was on the playground in the 5th grade, and I was suddenly approached by a bully that I had never seen before. He probably just transferred in. And he wanted to fight, and I had no idea of what in the world that was about. And so I decided that I was going to get safe distance, and the only place I could find was the backstop for the softball field. So I ran over to the backstop, and I just started running around it, and he would run around it, and I would run around it, until the bell rang, at which point he finally had to leave, and I left. And so ever since, I didn't attack him. We didn't fight. It never went anywhere. There was nothing that anyone had to do about that, so it just faded away, which I found to be the perfect solution. Except I needed to find a backstop, something that would keep harm from me and would not harm the other person and start a history of fighting, okay? Well, the third component of this, when I really renewed that search, was in the year 2000, when a graduate, a counselor, a licensed counselor from Southwestern, Christy LaGrange, was murdered, once again by a bully who attacked her. And I was asked to create training that would somehow enable her to deflect that attack and escape and survive. And that's what we've been working on since the year 2000. In 2002, we gathered enough together to start the course, and here we are offering it to you today. Basically, what happened to her we'll get into in a moment, because it was a very difficult situation. But let me go into the engineering of how young Master Yang figured out he could deflect an incoming force. He had to do this all day, right? So he had to be very efficient and get past a person so that he could have a moment of safe distance, okay? Now we'd like to show you the engineering and the psychology that makes this system work. The engineering is very ingenious. Tai Chi means grand ultimate, and in my mind they're really referring to the engineering among other things. If you're going to defend the village and you're out in front, okay, that means that you're going to have to stop all of the strikes that come in, right? And you're going to have to do something to make the person stop attacking you, okay? And this is going to happen instantly. The idea of having someone come in and stop this person is a good idea, but it cannot happen fast enough. And so we're getting injuries in really all healthcare fields, and people who are restrained by the do no harm ethical restriction, okay? So obviously I've got to get out from in front of this person, right? The other thing I need to do is I need to not meet force with force. I do not want to count on being as strong as them. I want to interrupt this force when it first begins out here, before it's generated any force, any momentum, his weight's not behind it. I'm simply going to put a shield that will deflect it. Huh? I don't want to absorb it. So as it comes in, I'm past it, right? And at this point, I can turn and I can go on and get safe distance, okay? Now, it's vital to have an angled shield. And we have to do some training to create that, because our normal reaction is to do this. And as you can see from an engineering point of view, that means I'm going to have to absorb all of this force. Not good. The other thing is, if he has a weapon in his hand, it's going to come right over the top of this thing, okay? So that is not going to be a satisfactory answer, and the shield will handle both of those problems, okay? This particular movement in Yang style Tai Chi is called parting the wild horse's mane. Interesting thought, huh? Parting the wild horse's mane is also a matter of deflecting an overwhelming incoming force. If a wild horse is coming at you and you come up across his nose and into his mane, he will turn. He will turn himself. Right? You can't turn him, you can't stop him, but he will deflect himself away from that force. In my horse riding days, I've actually had to do that a couple of times. I was very happy to know how to do it. This does not work. Right? So parting the wild horse is made, okay? Now, the other thing that we need is in a fast-moving situation where you're caught by surprise, okay? Let me come around this other way. We need another piece of the Yang style, Tai Chi, which is called single whip. Now, when you do the form, and old Master Yang used to do everything very calm and collected and balanced and relaxed, because he had an understanding of both the psychology and the engineering. If you are relaxed, okay, you can get on perfect balance, because you can feel all the balance in all the bones and all the joints, okay? If you're relaxed, you can move instantly in any direction you need to, firing only the muscles that drive that movement. With all others being relaxed, it will be faster than if you are tight, okay? This is something we've come to understand in the last decade in terms of sport in the West, huh? But the other thing that we need to understand is this single whip. Now, the single whip was also related to horse warfare, and they would use a whip to momentarily freeze a horse and make him turn, very much as the other one. The other was an angle shield. This is a shock, freeze, action, boom. So when this hand comes up, I do that, okay? Now, if I'm fast enough, I can do the other, okay? That's fine. And with practice, you can become fast enough, seeing this coming, to do it, okay? But why not slow it down a moment to give yourself that margin? The other time that is absolutely critical is when you're not right in front of them, okay? And this is what happened, sadly, to Christy. Huh? She had come in to the house. The man's mother was supposed to be there. She wasn't. This was a trap. The guy was behind the door with a brick. She came in. Probably out of the edge of her eye, she saw some movement. But what do you do without this training? You might get this far and still get hit in the head with a brick, okay? The one thing that could have stopped that is to turn and do this one, huh? That would give her enough time to get through and out the door. There's times when you have to delay this strike, this incoming force, okay? Now, let's look at, we can delay it here, right, with a weapon. We could delay it just coming around this way, okay? And one that is critical is it can be coming from behind the individual as a surprise, huh? This is used by all kinds of people for all kinds of reasons. We'll show you with weapons, huh? But if you're going to surprise someone, that is a way to do it. Huh? Women are attacked this way and subdued. But when this happens, you can move away and stop it, okay? Now here comes a force. I can still just deflect it on over, right? At this point, I actually see what's in this hand, right? Okay? And if there's a weapon, I'll show you how to get it out. But from this point, if you had noticed where his feet were, it's very easy to push the person off and go on by, huh? Okay? Yang was very, very conscious of exactly where the feet were placed If they're like this, I have all of my strength. If I'm going off my heels, I have none of it. Balance was so important that he managed the footwork in his forms to the point that when modern science, specifically the Oregon Research Institute, set out to find the 8 forms that would put a person in a position to stop a fall in all 8 directions, they went to Yang-style Tai Chi. They picked the 8 forms that we actually use in this training, and it stops falls in all directions, even among seniors, to the point that it's the outstanding fall prevention program, and it has been adopted by the Oklahoma Health Department. I'm a certified teacher of it. I've been teaching this since 2009. We've stopped hundreds of falls and injuries from that point of view, and you'd have to have the foundation. If you're going to escape the village, you can't fall down. That's pretty obvious, and he figured that out immediately, okay? So we have an attack from here, we have the attack around here, we have the attack over the top, okay? We're always getting by. Now, the other thing that happens is a person will reach out with one hand in order to grab you, stabilize you, threaten you, whatever, okay? Now, the other standard Yang-style Tai Chi movement is called waving hands. Well, you don't exactly wave hands, huh? You're moving like this, okay? But you're staying within what we call the frame. Right here, I have a very strong triangle, don't I? If I had a staff here, you'd see it. The moment I let it go past, I'm off balance going over my own heel. So I have to stay within the frame. Now, when the hand comes out, this one simply comes up, and there I am again. Huh? The hand comes out, I intercept it. I don't want to hit it this time. I don't want any feeling in this. I want to float past this. I don't want any kind of resistance. So I just slip by. I can, of course, when I get to here, I could accelerate that if I needed to, okay, to gain enough distance. But in escaping the village, Yang's psychology was, I will just slip out, not alert anybody, and they will focus on all the people that are resisting. I will be the invisible one, huh? And that makes sense, okay? So we have a defense here, okay? Now, in terms of what happens to people in healthcare and other areas who are being attacked, sometimes they are caught by surprise, and we have to deal with that if the surprise involves a lethal grab, okay? And the most lethal thing is the throat, right? At this point, you have really less than a second. Some people measure blood flow, some people measure how much air you're losing, but that's not the point. If this comes in and crushes the trachea, you'll suffocate, okay? So we have to get this off. The hands come up, it's off, right? Okay? I can push the person back. Now I can do my Tai Chi and go past them, okay? So, if you're caught by surprise, we're just doing that, okay? We just knock it off, go by, okay? As you practice, you will become better at picking up any action coming towards you. You will pick it up with a relaxed deflecting thing, move past it, and you'll have that defense. Okay, so we've got the choke, we have grabs, okay. If we are grabbed from behind, okay, let's say I have escaped. I've escaped. Good deal. Safe distance. But before the people can come to help me, or if there isn't anybody to help me, as I escape, this person comes and grabs me again, okay? What is the way out of this, okay? I come under here, push him out in front, and I'm gone again, huh? Okay? This is the opposite of trying to fight a person here, huh? What I've got to do is use his force to get out in front of him, okay? So there are ways out of being trapped from behind. One thing that happens to ladies is somebody will grab their hair, and so they're coming back this way, huh? If you turn and do this, you can keep the pressure off your hair, okay? It's not pulling you over any longer, and then you can come around, okay? So, now you notice the person let go. The moment we start taking people off their heels, they pretty much forget what they're doing here and they begin to try to defend themselves. It's not something that we have to do actively, okay? Well, those are the basic escape techniques. If we need to get a little bit of speed, we can do this. You could say freeze, if you like. But this is the instant deflection that lets you get around. This is the instant deflection that lets you get around. And if you are fortunate enough to have a safety crew that can come and contain this person, and you see them coming and they're right there, one variation you can do, and this was done by a friend of mine who is a nurse. A man came up out of a chair who was getting an injection and attacked her, and she just went to here, held him here and here, and just walked him right back into his chair, okay? You can push here and here, and that takes the person's balance, and then you just walk them back and set them down, which is what she did. If she had not known that, he would have been coming. He had a psychotic break. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know who she was. He thought that somehow this injection was an attack and he was coming after her. Would have been one more tragic event in the healthcare field. She told me later that she had heard that nurses are being injured more than construction workers. That's a very sad thing, that we have not found ways to protect the people that are protecting us, but that's exactly what this is designed to do. So, thank you. These are the basics. The training will take place on 2 Fridays spaced out. In between, the individuals will be able to practice. They would be able to talk to people in the area, other counselors and other people. We're going to be collecting information. This is a starting place, an ethically sound, do no harm starting place, but we're going to be consulting with police, the Narcotics Bureau, nurses, social workers, psychologists, on out across the nation, because we need to know everything that's happening to them and find a way to stop it before it injures them. They want to go home at the end of the day to their families working on a safe job, and we all understand that. Well, thank you, and we will get back in touch with you as soon as we have firm dates, and we'll give you our contact information, and if you have any questions or you have any particular problems that you have witnessed or heard about that you want to make sure we include in our instruction, please advise us. I have Skype cameras, and we can contact you, and we can design exactly what we need in this day and age. Okay, thank you very much.